In the last video, we created the card component and made the cards clickable. Now let's set up the game reset in the nav bar. Inside the nav bar, we'll add a function called onNewGame. So let's add it to prop types. And I've actually already got it here. So I'm going to get onNewGame out of props. So I'll destructure here. And then I'll use it as a click event inside the link. Great, that's it for the nav bar. Now we need to create the function inside of the memory game and pass it in. So let's call this function handleNewGame. And in this function, we want to do two things. We want to copy the state and set all the cards to have a state of hiding. And then we want to shuffle the cards and then set that as our new state. So let's do that. So in this map, I'm destructuring each card and then setting the card state for each one to be hiding. Next, I'm shuffling the cards so we have a new arrangement of cards. And finally, we're setting state. So let's see that working. Oh, I forgot one thing. We need to pass it into the nav bar component. Now let's see that working. The colors are changing and our reset seems to be working, so it looks like that's all good. Now the only thing left is to update the handleClick function so that it has the correct logic for the game. If two cards are visible and they don't match, they should be flipped back, but if two cards are visible and they do match, they should stay. So let's start by getting rid of this code. The first thing I'm going to do in this function is actually define another function, and I'm going to call it mapCardState. It's going to take three parameters: the array of cards, an array of IDs to change, and lastly, what state those IDs should have. So it'll go through the array, map each element, and if the element matches the ID that we're looking for, then we'll change the card state. There we go. This is our mapCardState function. As I said, it takes our array of cards, the IDs that we want to change, and then the state that we want to change into. It'll map over the card, and if the ID that we're on matches any of the IDs to change, then we will update that card with the new card state. Next, we'll grab the card that we want out of the array. So that's the card that was just clicked on. Next, we're checking if the card we just found, if its state is not equal to hiding, then we don't want to do anything, right? If the card's already showing, we don't want to turn it into a hiding card. So if that's the case, just return. Also, we have a piece of state called noClick. So if noClick is ever true, then we also don't want to do anything. We'll see that in just a second what we're going to use it for. Next, we'll set a variable called noClick, and we'll start it out as false. And we're going to use this to decide if the user can click again or not. So if there are 0 non-matches showing or 1 non-match showing, then the user can click. But if there are 2 non-matches showing, then the user can't click for a certain amount of time. Next, we're going to use the mapCardState function that we created above and map the card that was clicked on to be showing, because we know the card state has to be hiding at this point. Now I want to filter that to only get showing cards back. Now let's just get the ID of those showing cards. Now we have an array of cards that are currently showing, and we have those cards' IDs. Oh, and I spelled map wrong. Now we need to decide a couple different cases. So first of all, we want to check if there are two cards showing and if their background colors match. So this is the case when we need to change the state of both these cards to matching. Otherwise, there are two cards showing and they do not match at this point. So then we need to hide them, but we'll hide them after they've been shown for a little bit of time. So first I'm changing the card state of the showing IDs to hiding. So these IDs were the two that are showing, and now I want to make those IDs to hiding cards. Next, I'm going to change the no-click variable from false to true. And then I want to set state with the cards and no-click. Now you'll notice I used cards here, not hiding cards. So I'm going to keep the cards showing for a certain amount of time, and then after a set timeout, I will hide them. So we need a callback function for after this set state is done. And inside of that callback function, after a set timeout, we're going to change the card states from showing to hiding. So you can see here we've set the state to have two cards showing, and then after 1.3 seconds we have two cards hiding, or we have the whole hiding array, which includes those two cards that we've now hidden. And we've changed the no-click from true to false. So while those two cards are showing, you can't click anywhere else, and then afterwards, after the 1.3 second delay, they are hidden. Let's change that to 3. And if this is the case, we just want to return. We don't want to do anything else in this function. Otherwise, if you've gotten down to the bottom, we'll do a set state with our cards and no click. So we'll reach this set state in only two cases. One, if there's only one card showing that's not matched, or the other case would be there's two cards showing that now do match. If there are two cards showing that do not match, we'll be inside of this else if statement and we'll hit the return and stop here. So let's check out our app now and see if it works. As you'll notice, the matches stay, and if I get two things that don't match, I can't click a third time. So there we go. That looks good. So that's our application. Good job so far. Keep up the good work. Next, we're going to be doing component lifecycle methods.